From one country to another, gold is not always the same color. In Kenya, it has a pretty green shade. For the animals, that means food. For the inhabitants of the Rift Valley, it means a good salary at the end of the month. The rainy season has kicked off tea picking. Alice collects 45 kilos of tea a day, 7 hours a day, and hardly ever stops. For her, the break comes at the end of the day when she has to wait for the tea collector, and that's when the rain stops being her best friend. Yes, in the Rift Valley, rain has two sides. It's both beneficial for crops and devastating for carriers. The previous day's showers soaked the track with water.
Shida ilifanyika hapa ni mvua, barabara iko mbaya, wewe mwenyewe unaona. Na si hapa peke, kwanza nimelala pale nyuma.
His lorry is blocking the entire road. But when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah, I've been commuting, but now I'm being delayed by bad roads. And I think we need leaders who can work. Our leaders, we elect them on the ground, they go and stay. They live in Nairobi. They only come here when they are seeking for re-election. It's a precarious situation. You have to go under a lorry in order to cross over.
Fortunately, in this agronomic area, there's everything you need to intervene quickly.
Kenya is problem, dangerous road.
Nevertheless, this road is a major economic axis. But when it comes to infrastructure, the world's fourth largest tea exporter is struggling to catch up. Kenya is one of the richest countries in Africa, and unlike the rest of the continent, its wealth doesn't come from minerals or oil, but from agriculture, industry, and of course, tourism. Kenya was one of the very first African countries to develop safaris. However, outside the major tourist areas, the tarmac gives way to tracks. Far from the cities, finding work is extremely complicated. So those neglected by the Kenyan miracle sometimes go off to try their luck in unimaginable places. Like this island shanty town, it has a reputation for making the brave rich, but on one condition: accept it's hell. For others, it's global warming that has turned their lives upside down. The weather has become totally unpredictable, drying out some regions, while others are drowning in downpours with dramatic consequences for the population.
Haikukuwa na bridge zamani. Ilikuwa watu wanaenda tu kwa miguu kutoka hapa hivi mpaka mwisho ile nyingine. Lakini sasa venye maji imekuwa mingi.
The carefree days are over. Regardless of monsters, the show must go on. Everyday life in Kenya demands courage. Despite being endangered by pollution and overfishing, Lake Victoria is still a cornucopia for millions of Kenyans. Adan is determined to have a share of the pie. The young man has hired a lorry to transport the 100 kilos of fish from the Nile he has just bought, which he intends to sell at a handsome profit. It's a risky gamble, as his lorry is not refrigerated and the temperature is over 35 degrees Celsius.
The journey is long, about 8 hours or 10 hours to reach the factory. If the fish is 100 kg, the ice should be also 100 kg. It has a lot of crises to reach here during the rainy season. So the cost of transport is very high because we have no accessible roads, good roads and transport.
May God bless the journey to Mbita.
The 70 kilometers of winding road to Mbita is one of the most complicated in the region. Torrential rains have been saturating the land with water for weeks now. The 27-year-old is willing to face these difficulties for one reason: to build a future.
My family was background. I was not able to pay my school fees, and here in my country, there's no free education. All the education you have to pay. So I have started my university education 2019. Now I am pursuing my bachelor degree in commerce, accounting option. I want to continue in my small business, just that one of buying and selling fish, buying from this place and selling to that place of market.
Adan hopes to put 200 euros net in his pocket. To do this, the fish has to be delivered in perfect condition. That's no easy task.
Look at this place. We have a lot of problems. The kind of road that we are using to transport this fish from that place to the marketplace, you can lose your fish. The ice will expire. The ice will become water. Eh? So there's a lot of loss. There's a lot of business loss.
You have to be very keen. Yeah? Unless if you are not keen, you just be inside the lake. You have to concentrate.
But sometimes that's not enough.
We are going to sleep here the whole day. Oh no. Even me, I'm bored. Even 2 days, and yet the rain is coming again. You can sleep here, you spend even a week here.
These kids aren't at the show, no. They're waiting patiently for the heat to work its magic. 35 degrees outside and 45 degrees inside the skip promise to earn them a bit of money.
You see? It's meant.
There's no way of knowing how long it's been since the fish have been ice-free. But once the last piece has melted, the fish are in for a real treat. Now they have to get out of there quickly. The shovel's not enough. But with a few extra pairs of hands, they've got a chance. Adan pays them peanuts for their help, in the literal sense of the word.
So, let us try. Let us try.
Small arms but big muscles. Well, peanuts are nice, but money is much better. Cleverly, the children surround the lorry. If he wants to leave, Adan has to pay.
Kuna 50 bob.
Yeah, 50 bob for the panga they brought.
Hakuna sina 50 bob, wewe peana mimi nakupatia. Peana hiyo tu, twende. Twende. Gurumisha gari. Wewe, erokomano.
Adan and Bernard don't know it yet, but it's not the last time they'll have to open their wallet. Money may be easy to get out of a wallet, but the hardest part is getting coins and notes into it. At the height of the rainy season, the fishermen and the predators of Lake Victoria are looking to fill their bellies and pockets between showers.
Tumefurahi sana. Sababu hali ni mbaya,
Wakati anga ni mbaya, alafu wakati unaenda kumalizia ndio unapata
Maji.
maji sisi tumezoea hii kazi.
An island that has nothing to do with this one, and even less to do with that one. No, Migingo is like no other island in the world. It may not look like it, but for some people, this shanty town-shaped piece of land off the coast of Kenya is an El Dorado. Smaller than a football pitch, there are more than 1,000 people crammed into these metal shelters heated by the sun. Not just fishermen live here. Migingo is a micro-town. Daniel has lived here for 4 years.
Ndio kubwa kwa sababu kila mtu akifika ndio wanatumia kuingia ndani. Sasa wengine wanaenda huko, wengine huko. There's another street but smaller. Alafu hii street hapo kuna sehemu za kulala. Hizi ni nyumba za kulala. Guest rooms.
Julius works on a boat. He rents a room here, or rather, an oven. For 60 euros a month, a fortune.
Hapa tunalala watatu, wawili. Lakini watatu kama tumebanana. Huwa tunaenda ziwani. Sasa ukipatikana emergency ya kwamba hatujaenda, pengine labda mko watatu, kwa hiyo mnaweza mkabanana kama pesa hakuna ya kwenda kukata lodge. Tunalala hivi hapa, mwingine analala hapa, mwingine analala hapa.
Mwingine analala huko,
mwingine analala hivi. Hapa. Kazi nyingine tunatafuta tu, tukipata tuweze kufanya kazi ya uvuvi. Kazi ambayo najua, ndo maana uvuvi tunafanya kwa sababu ya kukosa elimu. Unaona? Ndo maana tunaingia kwenye kazi ya uvuvi.
On the Shanty Island, there is of course no running water, no toilets, no electricity. An unsanitary rock where, despite everything, life settles in and clings on. So why are they all moving to this annex of purgatory? Well, for one reason only: money. The Nile perch, a victim of pollution and overfishing, is starting to become scarce near the coast. This piece of rock is located in one of the richest fishing grounds on Lake Victoria. It allows fishermen to save fuel by avoiding the round trip to the mainland 15 kilometers away. The two neighboring islands are viewed with envy but remain uninhabitable. One is protected by its legend. It is said to be occupied by demons. Only a few soldiers dare to sleep there. The other, ironically, would be too big to defend against the pirates who come at night to steal boat engines. Gathered together on Migingo, the fishermen have turned their island into an impregnable fortress, but one that's impossible to live in. Goods are constantly arriving from the continent to supply the small shops. The only consolation for the locals is that clothes and food imported from neighboring Uganda are much cheaper. Fishermen earn a better living, so they spend money to keep from getting depressed by this hard life. Daniel runs his small business thanks to solar panels.
I do haircut and phone charging. That's what I do here.
Daniel is the only barber on the island. With no competition, he earns a good living, or just about. Most of the houses on Migingo belong to the first fishermen who colonized the island between 1991 and 2000. Inevitably, the price per square meter is commensurate with the lack of space.
Nilikuwa na kazi yangu nilifungua huko nje na niliona kama haiendelee vizuri sana. Sasa niliamua nikuje nijaribu hapa. Naipenda sida ni kodi ya nyumba. Kodi ni juu sana. Like this one is 5,000. Very expensive. That one back there is 7,000. Wow.
Opposite is the pharmacy, certainly the most profitable business on the island.
Okay.
Kathy is not a doctor, but has a nursing degree. There is no shortage of illnesses, and she treats them as best she can.
She has been sick and has been on drugs for 2 weeks. So she lost her appetite. Yeah. So this is to boost the appetite. It might be malaria, typhoid, so we manage it like that with antibiotics and painkillers. All of Migingo just depend here for treatment. Yeah.
You'd think they'd run away, but instead there are more and more of them, attracted by miraculous catches. Julius sees disaster coming. According to him, the island's waters are beginning to dry up, a victim of their reputation.
Kuna kipindi tu samaki ikiadimika, kwa kweli unaweza hata ukashinda njaa. Kwa hiyo pale lazima utakumbuka kwamba mwezi fulani mwaka fulani kwa kweli samaki iliadimika mpaka tukakosa hata hela ya kula. Lazima watu wajae. Mwanzoni zamani ilikuwa haina watu, kwa sababu watu walikuwa hawajajua kwamba hapa samaki ipo. Sasa baada ya kuwa umefika wengi, wakaanza kuja watu wengi. Sasa ndio maana biashara ikakua, ikaanza kujulikana, kila kitu kikaendelea vile vile.
But for how long? Migingo is on the verge of asphyxiation. Like Lake Victoria, the human activity generated by Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya, which share the waters, is gradually killing it off. Wastewater, fertilizers, plastic and intensive fishing are threatening biodiversity and fish stocks. Several million people depend on Lake Victoria, but it's not the only threat hanging over Kenya. Global warming is no legend. The sun is hitting certain regions hard. David's taxi is as densely populated as the Migingo Island. "20 kilometers of dust and sweat await the travelers in the bush taxi, or the matatus as the Kenyans call it.
Nabaria matatu sababu unajua iko manyumba naishi pandei, iko watu naishi huko na ni reserve. Sasa lazima upeleke hawa mpaka huko. Problem ni njia tu, sasa tunapepanga. Shida ni hiyo sasa. Na unajua sababu tupeleke chakula mpaka huko.
€9 for the trip, but at that price customers have to roll up their sleeves.
That is what you do. Naona tumepangia mawe hapa chini. Naona hii mawe tumepangia hapa chini ndio ipate mkuu ifanye asiteleze. Unajua nje mbaya bwana laga sasa kali kichasa hivi hivi vitu sasa nini? Nyanga. Nezanguka. Tazangua. Alafu hii tairi ya ile lori yenye iko huko, angalia mzuri kama imefungwa. Funga nani? Msiko yako iko sawa boss. Msiko yako iko sawa. Tunapeleka nini? Mboga. Haya. Sukari. Nakula itaya sasa tunapeleka lori nyingine iko juko. Haya wase, tushikeni bwana, tushikeni twende. Tushikeni twende. Iko sawa. Twende. Wekeni nguvu.
The matatu moves slowly. 10 kilometers in 2 hours. Its sputtering engine struggles at the slightest obstacle.
Sasa shida unaona hii milima. Kare hawezi panda ikiwa kama iko mzito. Sasa bai watu ashuke, apande na mguu alafu mimi nikuje begi yangu na gari kama iko light.
Above all, they have to push. The shepherds are amused by the situation. You have to admit that there's very little entertainment in this sun-scorched place. The drought is emptying the villages of the Turkana region. It's been 3 years since those clinging to their land have seen a single drop fall.
Keros kayaknya. Agak minyak kita sadar yang macam nyawa nyumuk dia lo. Gue tengok. Kam nyoni kama. Agak kejiri yang dalam ni. Kau matalan tu nak kejiri so nyuk. Kama yang nyawa nyum dalam ni. Tahu nggak ada jile bang. Ngombe mbuzi. Ngamia.
Na watu tunaishi wapi?
Ndani ya leko tena. Ndani ya leko na. Anh lấy con thì cái măng quan này là lo cái uất cọt kia tôi linh. Chăm cái mấy bọn đó là cái đó là bay toa gì đi. Mấy gì đó cái chăm cái mấy cái quan toa gì quan gì một số thứ quan cũng mấy gì đấy. Cái đó là bay cái tanya đi cái mà cô liệt là mình cái tanya đi nhìn. Cái mà bọn đó thì cái tanya đi.
For the poorest families, those who don't have the means to flee, day-to-day life is terrible.
Yani watu sita. Mundu yani nyiti nyapongasa. Kwa kun ata kingon goma.
Maisha inakuwa ngumu.
Na yamia kula tata ata ki. Mama. Kiwanga melepet ki sita kuwanya kudongata. Otengulile.
The situation has just become even more complicated with the arrival of her daughter's first child.
Ako na 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Weakened by childbirth, her daughter can no longer help her mother with the water chores.
Sa kongo, ko na pa ke miliselo. Na lugu sa tin de nya. O ga taran bejan, angunan ba kau. A tin bejan ngani. Wa na pa gwen ka jan. A nyi to ngama ki wa nya. Ai, kalau sai anda ki wa nya, meisha. Ba ko te gera mo ulna. Ake was la ba.
Although the water has disappeared on the surface, there is still some under the crust of dried earth. Each family has its own hole. No one would dare come and steal their neighbor's water.
Unieleze.
Karama gitu kayaknya. Ai. Wes guanya. Nggak mau ke karama aja. Makanya ini.
Tena kan ngiri.
Gitu kah? Tuh. Mereka ini agak soalnya terus di tukang kerja serikali. Ai. Kita ke sono nya. Kita ke sono. Mami yang gini mah tuh. Mami yang gini nggak jalan lemes. Magi ayah pokok. Yani. Terus nyong gitu, mbak kuat lemes, ngapa cendol ngorok ya ter, dia mau kita acon aja acon.
The shepherds still find a few watering holes. Water that's almost stagnant. That's barely drinkable for the animals. And yet,
tunakunywa sababu hakuna maji ingine. Tunakunywa pamoja na punda, tunakunywa pamoja na umbo, tunakunywa na kila kitu. Najua sasa tunaomba Mungu na tunakunywa hii madawa ya msituni hii. Kama ya miti, dawa miti. Sasa hii ni dawa. Inasaidia tumbo, inasafisha uchafu. Yes. Kama chafu. Inaosha ukikula namna hiyo.
Kula. Medicine.
drink dirty water or die of thirst. The choice is quickly made among the shepherds. On one side of the country, people are begging the heavens for rain. On the other, for the sun to rapidly dry out the soil. Adan and Bernard are among them. The track along Lake Victoria is still very wet. The two men have 100 kilograms of fish to deliver and very little ice to preserve it. It's always the same. Trouble never arrives at the right time. A descent, a climb, some mud, and the lorry is off the road.
Hii ni shida kubwa sana. Ni mbaya sana. Everyone. This is the kind of challenges that we are facing in this business. There's a lot of problems. Roads are not impassable. This is our vehicle. Now we are at a very high risk.
Ningatinga watusaidie kusukuma itoke. Nitafute watu.
Just like the first time they got stuck in the mud, the children of the village quickly arrive ready to jump at the chance to make a bit of money. And it didn't take long.
So tunatoka aje hapa?
Ndio tunaita watu watusaidie kufanya nini? Kusukuma.
Inasukuma wapi?
Sisi tunasukuma mbele hivyo. Kaa itatoka.
Wewe saidieni kuokota mawe ndogo ndogo. Mawe ndogo ndogo. Pesa iko?
Hapo sawa.
But Adan finds that the children don't move fast enough, and above all, that some of them are unwilling to help and throw the stones anyway.
Nitawaitia polisi saa hii, ngoja mnacheza na nyinyi.
This time, the children's arms don't count for much against the 12 tons of steel. Adan and Bernard have no choice but to hire the parents, and that's going to cost a bit more.
Negotiating, they want each 300 shillings. It's so expensive. We are just negotiating for them to give them 5,000. Yeah?
The village chief speaks for everyone.
Let's say, if that one we can deduct, we inquire 300 per each. So if you can deduct, let it be 2. Oh man, let me talk. Yeah, let it be 2. Hey, you said 5,000. The total I wanted here, it is 6,000. You know, umekwama, sindio? Umesema umekwama. Na umeomba usaidizi, sindio? But unajua saa hii hapa, tukitoka hapa lazima tukue na nguvu, sindio? So if we want just 250, why do you deny us of that?
50 euros is a quarter of his profit, but when Adan sees the ice melting and his fish warming up, he has no choice. Despite the hardship and the money that cost him, Adan is pragmatic.
When you have problem, somebody else is advantage. You know, like that. That's the problem. Oya. Usukume sasa.
But money doesn't work miracles, and the wheels remain hopelessly stuck in the ditch. The hundreds or so kilos of fish may well start to go off before the crew can get back on the road. In Kenya, the weather seems to have gone completely mad. There are more storms, and downpours flood everything in their path. The economy of the affected regions is slowing down. 4 million Kenyans can no longer feed themselves properly.
Mimi siwezi hata piga boda kwa sababu ni njia yangu ya mapato yangu.
Fanya biashara wako na shida kusafirisha farm products kwa maisha.
All this water washing away the soil and the villages also has terrible health consequences.
Baada ya hii kuna ugonjwa outbreak.
bilharzia, malaria.
And these are not the only scourges. Flooding is partly due to the disappearance of the great forests. Without this green barrier to stop it, the water swells up in natural reservoirs, such as Lake Baringo. Since 2010, the water level has risen by 12 meters. Despite the stone dams, the luxury hotels are gradually being swallowed up by the lake. The suffering of those locals who made their living from tourism is threefold. Their jobs have disappeared. Their village, which was far from the shore, is now under attack from the waters, and an animal straight out of a horror film. A beautiful beast that easily reaches 2 meters in length. The children try to convince themselves that they are out of danger by keeping a safe distance. Well, not really. Last year, 5 children were attacked on their way to school, and none survived. Since the waters have risen, the school has become an island. There are school boats, but not all families can afford to send their children across. George has made traditional canoes for his 2 sons.
Tunaenda kuchukua hii miti kwa kando kando ya huko. Alafu ndio tunakuja tunashona. Alafu tunashia watoto na hii ndio tunatumia hata kwa mambo ya samaki, kwa samaki. Haikuwa na bridge samani. Tulikuwa watu naenda tu kwa miguu kutoka hapa hivi mpaka mwisho ile nyingine. Lakini sasa venye hii maji imekuwa mingi na inaanza kuchukua ikasomba watu huko, maji ikafura mpaka ikafika sehemu hii. Unaona hii sehemu hii ndio hii. Naogopa. Hapa baba.
The crossing takes 20 minutes, and although crocodiles rarely attack canoes, there is another danger that can capsize them. Contrary to popular belief, the hippopotamus is far from being a friendly animal. As for the teachers, they cross the water on foot. Their meager salaries don't allow them to take the boat every day. They take risks because they know the reptile's weakness. It's Achilles' heel.
Lazima upige duru mingi ndio mambo itoroke na ulinge mawe ndani ya mawe, unashika mawe na kulinga ndani ya maji. Ndio mambo inatoroka kabisa, unakuja pole pole.
Crocodiles do indeed have keen hearing. As to whether his technique works, that's another story. In any case, that day the crossing was heroic for both the teachers and the 2 little paddlers. This morning, the majority of the 200 pupils answered the call.
Morning, teacher. How are you? I'm fine, thank you, teacher. How are you?
But sometimes the classrooms remain empty.
We are very happy because we are going to start the lessons at 8:30, 8:20. So we will be covering a lot of at the end of the term. For example, last week we had a crisis. Penye mlikuwa unajua hakuna mafuta. So ni challenge sana, ilikuwa challenge. Tulifika hapa sasa wanafunzi hawako. If we can get that floating bridge, it will assist us as teachers.
I love you so much, Ebenezer. Ebenezer, what I wonder you are.
I love you so much, Ebenezer. Ebenezer, what I wonder you are.
The bridge won't be in place for a while yet. But one man thinks he's found the technique to appease the ferocious appetite of Lake Baringo's crocodiles.
Now I want to give the food. Okay.
Every afternoon, Aaron feeds the crocodiles the leftover fish from the lake's fishermen.
If you don't give food when they're hungry, then people will have problems. They can bite. They can try to look food from the human view.
According to him, a crocodile with a full belly is a crocodile that is no longer looking for prey. Well, normally. In the space of 4 years, dozens of residents have disappeared, swept away by the animal. Winnie survived miraculously. She was attacked in 2020.
Mkulima wanalima huko chini tu. Nimeingia ndani ya maji sasa najaribu kuinua mkono ndio msee akasema nikaona size ya hii mkono hivi. Jakakaa ananikurukia sasa kunitoa. Bila ananitoa anatufuruta sisi wawili tena kwa ndani ya ya bahari. Sasa akaendelea kupiga nduru ndio watu sasa wakafika. Bila wakafika bado anang'ang'ana tu na hiyo mamba. Ndio sasa watu wakapiga, sijui waliona kwa sababu mimi sikuwa naona tena saa hiyo. Labda watu waliona hiyo mamba, sasa wakajaribu kupika akaacha mguu. Walikuwa wanaanza wakakula mbuzi, wakaanza kukula umbwa. Sasa labda ni hiyo damu tu ndio walikula hiyo damu ndio wakaanza sasa kukula watu. Walikuwa wameanza na mbuzi. Maji siwezi kujiletea hata kuni ama kwenda kujitafutia hata kibarua yoyote nijifanyie. Hakuna, mimi nakaa tu nyumbani. Ni yeye tu ndio anakimbia ndio alete. Siku yenye amepata. Kwenye hajapata tunakuja tunalala njaa.
Until the water level drops, the crocodiles will remain the masters of Lake Baringo. Until the climate returns to its normal cycle, flooding and mud will continue to trap carriers like Adan. It cost him dearly. He had to promise 50 euros to persuade the man of the village to get him out of the ditch. After 4 hours of effort, the rear wheels finally returned to the track.
Where's Jacob?
I'm here.
Fine.
Let me count it, even these people are seeing me. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Adan's only obsession now is to save the 100 kilograms of fish he's carrying, if that's still possible.
Now we are okay. Let us go. Let us move on. We pray for God. We pray for God. Tupate usaidizi ingine Mungu atupeleke huko mbele. We pray for God. Let us go. Let us go. Let us look for ice. Another place.
A further 1-hour drive and the village of Sindo appears to be their savior. This small fishing port is blessed with one of the few ice factories on Lake Victoria.
Here is the place where we get some cold ice. Yeah, it's so cold. Very much cold. Full. 1,000.
Adan and Bernard, the driver, fear the worst.
The steps of the fish, they're still fresh, but now...
Oh, you can see that it's still fresh.
You look from the gills.
Okay.
From the gills.
But the condition of the fish now is not good. It's not good.
It's not good, but still fresh.
Still fresh, yeah.
The ice will preserve them for a little while longer, but now, at the slightest stop, Adan can kiss his investment goodbye.
Kenya local contractors, because of corruption, they will not construct well. They will steal money. The money will not reach. They will use fake lami, fake tamak. Everything is fake. So at the end of 2 or 3 years,
the road began bad
the road will begin again bad, and it will crack.
Okay.
And we have used the rough road almost 70 kilometers from this place. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of good road. Now we have relief. Fine. I'm very happy to see a road like this. We have so much relief.
The last few kilometers are just a formality.
We have struggled, bad road, bad weather, everything. Now this is the company of the fish. This is the end point of fish.
10 hours on the road to earn 200 euros, minus the 50 he gave the villagers to get him out of the ditch. Adan is working to pay for his studies and have a good future. Kenya is booming. Tea cultivation, fishing, tourism, the country is developing, but it's still very unequal. And it doesn't look like global warming is likely to do anything to help.